Actually, I'm not sorry.
Kojo besia, everyone will fear. Supi supi, everyone will fear. Trumu trumu, everyone will fear. Warao, everyone will fear.
I was wonderfully made in the image of God. All of us are created in the image of God. I have two names, Nokuthula, Teresa, Zlatla. Nokuthula means peace. Nokuthula means mother of peace. So I grew up in a Christian home. My grandmother used to say today, this is my house, so everyone must go to church. It was not our thing, but as I grew up, I think when I was now 12 to 14, that's when I realized that actually maybe I need to give myself to God or give my life to Christ. That time there were so many things that I did not understand, so I was doing because at home it was something for all of us. And then until when I was 18, when I really made a decision to say, actually I like this life. But at that age also, there was a thing that I was struggling about. It was something that I was thinking that probably something wrong with me. I can't be looking at women and feel, these kinds of things that I did not understand at that time. But at the same time, it was something that I would not be able to even share with anyone. Because I've never even heard anyone talk about it except the preaching that I used to hear about Sodom and Gomorrah story, where it was preached that it was a sin and God will ban those kinds of people. But it was when I was 20, I think, when there was someone who came visiting in our church, who then stood in front, and she was asking for prayers because she felt that she was possessed with some demons in herself because she has these feelings for women. I'm like, oh my God, she's going through what I am going through. At least now I have a friend. So we became friends, started talking about this. And we thought, maybe we need to pray and fast and do something about it, because in that moment, we love God. We love being in the church. Then we were just called in one Saturday by the leaders of the church, and you must understand those are all men. Then we were told that they have been watching us. We are having sex. And we were asked, scrutinized for hours to tell them, these men, how are we sleeping together? How do we have sex? And, there was one guy who really rescued us and said, no, I don't think that this is a proper conversation that we should be having with them. But the fact that we were then told that we're going to be excommunicated, that was really, something very hard. Normally, when the church decide to excommunicate someone, they will ask visitors, children to go out. But at that moment, no one was asked to go out. Everyone, and the church that Sunday was packed, and we were made to stand. And they told the church that we have done an evil sin. Women must really be scared of us because we have something that is transferable somehow. So we were treated like no one wanted to talk to us after church. My family was shocked, and because no one has told them that this is what is going to happen. So now I have to go home and explain, and I don't even know what to explain because it was not a thing that I knew how to handle. But both of us, with my friend, we then decided that actually, if then they have identified a demon within us, but then they are telling us not to come to church anymore. So where are we getting help? Are we going to pray for ourselves, or what is going to happen with us? So we kept on going to church, but made to sit at the back. But then they offered the church to say, no, we want to pray for you. We are having this prayer night that is really based on how they're going to pray the demon out of us. Things are happening in this prayer that are very uncomfortable, like hands were going in part of our bodies that, this prayer now did not feel okay. So you felt violated because of the fact that in their heads, there was a thing about probably we have two body parts. And that moment for me, then I had to make a decision to say, if my spiritual journey, whatever relationship that I have with God must look like this, then meaning that, no, there's something wrong with God.
Sparkling. Sparkling, fantastic. Need touch telephone? Yes.
So both of us then that day decided that, no, we're going to lie and tell these people that these demons have left us. We are okay, because I don't want to be prayed for anymore. So back to church, reading, praying, doing things for myself, and I'm excited about this journey. But then something happened to me. So I was gang raped. So as I was in the, with the police dealing with this kind of a situation that has happened. So they called one of the ladies in the church who was more of a friend to me. But one thing that I've got to hear that day was the fact that it was God who was punishing me because of my sexuality at that moment. And that shut me off. That broke my heart. That made me realize that what kind of a God I have been, worshiping. Then I decided that I wanted to take my life. So I drank all my tablets and many other things, and was then taken to the hospital. I was woken up by, I think, 3 hot claps. As I woke up, it was a doctor who was really upset, said to me, how do you do this to yourself? You are very young, you still have a life ahead of you. The world is waiting for you and you want to take your life. When I started thinking about what is it that I want to do with myself and with my life, then I made a decision that God who I was told punishes people, that is not the one that I want. So it was a moment for me, I think, that helped me to do my healing process and really start to see God, the way I understood God for myself at that moment. And, it was a beautiful moment because it was there and there when I met someone who was a pastor of Hope and Unity Metropolitan Community Church that was known at that time like a gay church. So the first time I visited that church, it was all full of gay men, and I think it was, 2 lesbians. And now for me, it's like the shock of my life to have to see a room full of these people who I identify with, who for a long time I thought I was the only one. And for me, it was like an exciting moment. Then it makes sense there and there that these are the people that I have called you to, to journey with them, because most of the people are struggling with integration of their sexuality and spirituality the same way that you have struggled with it. I have been told for so many years that there's no way that you can be a lesbian and also be a child of God. So those things cannot work together. But seeing a whole pastor, that means that I can be something for myself. So in that moment in 1998, eventually officially, I was ordained as a pastor. an unbelievable moment. It was huge for me, and it was even huge for the community, because we are all come from that background of the church has not accepted us. So I journey with that, and I pastored Hope and Unity, Metropolitan Community Church. As a church, we were involved in different kinds of things. I landed in sitting in platforms where there was these kinds of negotiations around issues of marriage. When the bill in 2006 came into place, we were the first church to marry same-sex couple. From that moment, then I realized that a church has a role to play. So during that time, again, we're facing a huge issue within our own community where HIV was taking a place where people were dying. It was breaking my heart to realize that there was nothing much that has been done. So luckily in the church, we opened that conversation to say, how do we support? How do we talk about HIV? Because at that time there was stigma and discrimination that is happening, around issues of HIV. We created not just a conversation, a practical way of doing it was to put it as one of the items that we're going to do a candlelight service, and get someone to come and talk about, their HIV status. And, it happened that one of, my lead pastor was also open about his own HIV status. Because of that, it was very helpful for people to know that this is the church where you can come as you are. So I got sick and I could not walk anymore. And it was a very traumatic moment of my life because it did not make sense. 1 minute, one day I was walking and then all of a sudden I'm not walking anymore. What has happened? Probably this is what they meant when they say God punishes people. Probably I am promoting something that is not supposed to be promoted. LGBTI people, when, in the Christian movement, everyone is clear about the fact that those people, all of us are going to hell. And then it was just those kinds of things when then I realized that actually, I belong here like everybody else. Then I believe that God has created me as a person. And the same way that I believe that God has created all this that we see in this world, and everyone has claimed their space. How am I not claiming my space as a person to say, I don't need to hear whether you accept me or not, because the same way that you feel that you belong, I belong. And in 2010, then I was able to walk again. I don't know, that is a story for another day.
Yes, please. Let me just, can I see what sound bites? That one goes on camera. Okay, she looks good. Yeah.
So for me, walking again was now walking with a mission to say, I have been given a second chance. What do I do with my second chance? So it became a thing for me. Every morning when I wake up, I land my legs. I always remember that, I am grateful that I walk again. So what can I do? And it was one of the moments of where I realized that, people are going through so much, so the integration is happening. But at the same time, all of us have where we come from. And some of us are stuck there where we come from, especially within the LGBTIQ plus community. It's easy for us to talk about that thing, how I have not been accepted, how rejection, whatever, that is a conversation that all of us want to have. So I said, I don't want to be known for that. I want to be known for my talent. I want to be known for my gift. I want to be known for the things that I am doing in the world. I want to be known for my purpose. So ashes to purpose come from that moment of where I was trying to find things for myself. So I had a young people, even, like a different group of people sitting together. So we would meet once a month. So the process started with, who am I as a person? We talk about your spiritual journey. We include issues of, what happens in your childhood that has kept you a prisoner. Then when the process ends, it ends with, who am I now?
That in Africa we call you Bishop Reverend Nokuthula.
So I look back in all that I have done to realize that it was setting me for me to learn, for me to relearn, and it was very important for the fact that we belong here. Not acceptance, we belong here, and we can show up in the world as people who are capable, as people who can be able to change the narrative that has been said about us, and the world is ready for us.
Actually, I'm not sorry.